What's up, guys? Ben here from Blue Ladder, coming at you from my closet. And I'm doing this because I've had a lot of people asking me lately about employees. And so, full disclosure, I have been in Texas now for, going on 5 years. I just hired my first full-time employee since coming out here. I'm just really getting into it in the state of Texas. I had up to maybe 2 or 3 crews worth of guys when I was in New York, and I might have had like up to 5 guys working for me at a time in general in my experience. So I haven't necessarily had huge teams up and going. So with that being said, if you want my opinion on things, here you go. So number one, where do you find good employees? And this is something where, I tried doing the Indeed thing or go on Craigslist, but Craigslist seems like it used to be bigger than it is now. So I posted it on Craigslist and found an employee real fast and found out real quick that it wasn't the best quality. And you can go on Indeed and get some people to apply to, and you'll get your mix, some good, some bad, which is typical for anything, I suppose. But where I've kind of found I hit my stride is through personal connections. Now, a lot of people will veer away from hiring family or friends of the potential fallout that you could have, which is a reasonable concern, but the thing is, that I think of it, or the way I think about it is, if you have very clear terms up front, you're very forthright with your expectations, then you're able to avoid a lot of the pitfalls. It has to do with clarity and communication up front. If you can do that, then you can work with anybody. I expect this from you, and if you continue giving X input, then we should get Y results. And with the ultimate, you got to do some vision casting, showing what you could grow to and where you're personally responsible for their long-term safety and growth. You have to take some responsibility as the owner, the one who's hiring. And it's good to put standards for them and also for yourself and say, hey, if I'm not hitting these certain markers, then I'm failing you as a boss. That puts a little pressure on you personally. And if they see that you're willing to take responsibility for their well-being, then they're going to go to town for you and they're going to make sure they pull their weight. And if they don't, that's, you have clear expectations, no harm, no foul. It's all going to be in the past now. We go our own separate ways. That's the key. You got to be upfront about it. And so with that being said, I'm a big fan of hiring people who are close to you in your network, not necessarily as partners, but clearly designated roles and responsibilities with very clear expectations. And when you have those expectations up front, it makes all the difference. One of the hacks for me, I'm a Christian, very involved with whatever church I'm a part of at the time, depending on location, geography, and all that. And I've found that people from church are great, especially if you're clear, like I said before. So have that as a caveat. If you're not clear with setting a vision and a direction where things are going, then you're a poor leader, frankly, and you need to work on that. Good leaders build good teams, strong teams that can grow businesses that are very strong and healthy. So I've had a lot of luck or good fortune or the blessing of God, whatever you want to call it, by reaching out with local pastors. When I moved to a new area, I didn't have a large network. So when I met a pastor, I said, hey, if you ever know any young guys who could use some mentorship and a job, send them my way. And so it was very effective. The other thing is network with other competitors. You can always, if nothing else, you can subcontract work if you get too busy. No, you're not going to keep the lion's share of it. You're going to keep maybe 80% and you're going to keep 20% and let them keep 80%. If it's their trucks, they're the ones being entrusted with all the work from A to Z. You're just setting up the appointment maybe and following up, you're going to keep less of that. If you're hiring somebody and paying them a commission rate, well, you can go as low as 40% if you're providing the vehicle. So you have that kind of range and you got to make sure you're selling accordingly so that the margins are strong enough. And when all that's working, you get people who are inspired to work for you because you show that you're going to take care of them. You're going to pay them for what they put out. And as long as they're doing good production, they're going to get paid very well because, that's 40% of revenue. You're looking at something around $30 to $40 per hour for window cleaning. It can get higher if you're adding other services like gutter cleaning and pressure washing. And so I'm going to try to stay for a minute with finding employees. So you can try Indeed and different job hiring things, but I'm a really big fan of looking through your own network, building connections with people in your local area who just have an eye out for you. Say, hey, I'm looking for guys who are like this. And from my vantage point, what I've seen is the best. Like, kind of depends on the role that you need to fill, right? You need crew leaders who are independent, who can drive and get from point A to B and communicate with the customer. And then you have the guys who are kind of the plus ones. They help to be efficient with the work. Or maybe you just have a guy who can grind, he can work fast and efficient, but he's not good with talking to customers. And so you need to pair him up with somebody who maybe isn't as efficient with cleaning, but they're very cordial. They can be very competent when it comes to dealing with customer service. So you pair up guys who have different strengths, help them realize, hey, buddy over here is going to do a really good job talking to the customer. He'll work on the inside while you work on the outside. You hustle. You might have to cover some of his slack. You work with these things. Make sure they're happy with their team member. I kind of like to have the guy who's going to be running the crew have an input on who the plus one is going to be. Maybe he's got a cousin or a brother or somebody, a friend who's going to work with him. And as long as, they're not doing drugs on the job, they're not drinking, they're not messing around too much, they're staying focused, they're getting things done, they're having good chemistry, working together, then you're going to win. Them being satisfied, them being happy with the way things are going is the key. So you got to find guys who have a vibe with each other that is good and healthy and wholesome. And that's how you create culture. You look for guys who think a certain way or who appreciate certain things, have good conversation when they're working together. It makes their day enjoyable, makes them want to stay with you, makes them feel responsible for making sure that whoever's working with them is going to be taken care of. Because it's stressful if somebody calls out sick, especially if there's not really a sickness involved. And if you have the camaraderie that's built up, that rapport that they have with each other, then they're going to stick in it through thick and thin because they want to take care of their buddy who's on the truck with them. They don't want to leave them hanging. And this works even, when I have a guy who was working with me, he wasn't getting paid much. He was kind of afraid of heights. He was just my plus one. He's my gopher guy. It was just me and him a lot of times on the truck. And I said, as long as you help me go twice as fast, we're winning. And so all that to say, he wasn't necessarily like a seasoned pro. He was there. And the kid wouldn't take a day off. If he was sick, he'd come in anyways because he didn't want to leave me hanging because he knew I'd go to town for him. I'd take care of him. I'd do whatever it took to make sure he had what he needed to get the job done or to just be happy in life. And because he saw me take some hits from cranky customers who would have been upset with anybody, he saw me own the mistake even if it was kind of really on him. I never pushed it off on him. I never blamed him for it. I took responsibility myself, and he felt responsible, so he would take it up another level. And so you want to kind of not just be that way yourself, but you want to hire guys who are going to be like that. You got to look for them through, the local pastor or the youth pastor who's connected, friends of friends, and you can use your social media and any other output. Reach out to your customer, send an email us, hey, we're looking to hire somebody. If you know somebody who's 18 to 24 years old who wants to kind of get an experience this summer cleaning windows, you do stuff like that. You can get scrappy. You can, just like you would be trying to get customers, you work the same way with trying to get employees. And so there's no rule. And I think this is the biggest thing a lot of guys who are new to business in general have to get a hold of is there's no way to do it. No single way anyways. There's best practices. There's good ideas. There's things that work for some people. And you might try them and they might work for you too, or they might not because you're a different person than them. You have a different makeup, a different attraction about you, a different set of priorities. And this all, again, goes into your company culture. The way you are attracts a certain type of person. And so if you can't find good workers, then it might, I hate to break it to you, but it might be your fault. You might need to grow in leadership. You might need to focus on being a better boss, a better motivator, a better vision caster, better at motivating people in general. So when you work to make yourself and your business magnetic, then people will come and call you and want to work for you. And so when I first got started out here, I've had probably half a dozen people reach out to me asking to work for me. So my first hire here, he found me through YouTube. So you could say, well, yeah, you got a YouTube channel. I don't have a YouTube channel. Well, I mean, you could make one too, but that doesn't mean that people are going to want to work for you. So you got to show that you're somebody who they could trust to work for because they're not your slave. Like, if anything, you become their servant if you're hiring them. And if you have that mentality, people are going to be more willing to want to work for you. At least that's my experience. And so, yeah, be the leader that other people would want to follow, that they want to be on your team. be the team captain they want to be on or be following. Now, with that said, pay structure. I've had a lot of calls, a lot of people questioning me about how to pay people. And again, there's no rules. You do something creative, you come up with an idea yourself. The way that I'm doing it personally, right now, the guy I hired, he's getting paid hourly, right? And it's a decent hourly, especially for somebody who doesn't have experience with window cleaning, $25 an hour. And he helps me with marketing stuff on the side. So he's worth more than that when it comes to the marketing, quite frankly. So, we both win. And the goal is that ultimately he'll get paid straight commission. So we're going to work towards that. We're starting to track how many windows he can clean in an hour with the goal of first getting to 15 exterior windows cleaned in 1 hour. And that's like, for the windows out here, that's very manageable. That's very doable with just a little bit of experience. He'll get there. And then beyond that, that's kind of where you start to see a decent hourly income. And then you put him on his own, 40% of every job, they split 2 ways. Now he might be keeping, the 40% it's still 40% for the job that's labor, and they split it. But it's not necessarily equal. Whoever's doing the lion's share of the work, as in like they're talking with the customer, they're leading the crew, I hire him a +1 who's happy with their wages. And if they're really efficient, that guy can get paid an hourly plus a bonus. Or, the tips are pretty good alone. So if they were just getting the hourly plus tips, they'd probably be very happy, quite frankly. But they're able to split that 40%. And so he might get 25%, whereas the helper would get about 15%. Combined, it's 40%. And, there's no rule to it. If they're both very efficient, work really hard, they're equal, then they could split it 50-50 and probably both be very happy. It just depends on the team. If you have a strong leader who has just a +1, who's kind of their helper, their gopher, then the strong leader should probably be compensated a little bit more because it's kind of sitting on his shoulders. Whereas if they're just equals, then yeah, they split it equally. But again, you can also do something where it's hourly plus bonus for how many things you're cleaning. And so I like to, whether it's a percentage of the job or dollars per window, I like to have some type of motivation that if they hit a certain level of cleans, windows cleaned, that there's like a bonus, something to kind of gamify the system to inspire them to get more done. And just so you have a heads up, when it comes to sales, like upsells, I don't even include that with the labor. I have that on a completely different system. So if somebody is out there in the field working and then they go ahead and they win a new job, they go door to door afterwards and hand out some flyers and talk to somebody, and that person books an appointment right there on the spot. Well, they get straight off the back 10% commission on the sale at the time of the, after the service is completed. So if they're the one who actually goes there to clean it as well, then the 40% or their hourly wages go toward their labor. On top of that, they get the additional 10% of the total bill. So that way they're incentivized to go and sell more. And, not every technician wants to do that, but some guys are willing to do that. And frankly, if they get experience with that, they start understanding how to charge, how to price things, they become more valuable, and they maybe even become your next sales guy. Then you don't have to go look and hire somebody or train somebody. You set them up with, hey, listen to these books, these audio books, read these things, however they like to learn, watch this guy on YouTube, different things that would help them understand. For me, I like the consultative approach to sales where it's more you're helping them make their best choice. But you sow into these guys, you invest into them, you let them know, hey, I know there's not like an eternal commitment here. If you ever need to go on, I just want to help you. But I also want to help carve out a spot here. If I could inspire you, what's your dream job? How could we build that into the system here? Then they feel like you're invested into them and you motivate them. And that's a big part of scaling a business, growing a business, relies heavily on your ability to attract people and keep them so that you're building that special team. At one point when I lived in New York City, I actually worked as an executive recruiter or a headhunter, somebody who looks for highly qualified individuals who aren't looking for a job and try to hook them up with a new job. And so you're working for the company that needs somebody, usually a CEO or a higher level exec. And so we just literally go hunting LinkedIn or whatever. And we had a boss, or I had a boss who, he was very skilled in the industry, a little bit iffy. He highly recommended us watching The Wolf of Wall Street so that we could understand how he kind of grew up in his thinking and how he evolved. He was buddies with those guys back in the day. Like, you can't come up with these stories outside of New York, it seems. But he was really creative with the way that he would get these connections. And so he would work he would work with one of the big five auditing firms, kind of had them in our back pocket, or his recruiting business had them in their back pocket. And he'd go take these guys out for lunch every day. And that's how he would be like the guy who they chose for his recruiting agency to hire people. And so he's very creative, very good at schmoozing with people, and was really a big help with me with just talking on the phone, changing my voice level. I grew up in San Diego and was a surfer, so I talked like a surfer, looked like a surfer, acted like a surfer. And so they helped me kind of cool it a little bit, change the dynamics in my voice so I didn't sound like I was falling asleep all the time. And it was good for me. But he also had some good tips when it came to actually finding people. And part of that is the people who were looking for jobs are not the right guys for the job many times. There's exceptions. Those are the people who are loyal and who are going to go to town for you. Somebody else already identified that, and that's why they're not looking for a job. So you have to find a way to motivate those people to jump ships onto yours. And so you can always be recruiting. You go looking for the guys at the cash register who are really good with customer service, but you literally go hunting them down. If they're at Home Depot, they're helping you out at the cash register, and you realize, hey, this guy's only probably making $18 an hour. I could probably pay him better, and he looks like he's athletic enough, seems really good with customer service. I'm going to go ahead and try to get him to work for me. And so there's a lot of things people do, just have like a special little business card made specifically for recruiting guys. Say, hey, we're always hiring. Shoot us a message or reach out to us at some point if you'd ever like to get onto our team. And the more like special and nuanced you can make it, the more effective it can be. But the idea is that you're always on the prowl, always keeping an eye out for the next guy to join your team. And whether it's a friend of a friend or somebody at a restaurant or just somebody you bounce into, maybe you see somebody doing landscaping and you're like, hey, window cleaning's easier. You just try to get them onto your team. So always keep your eyes out, always be recruiting.